We are happy to have you today here to our presentation where we're going to talk about cross-border growth, a business expansion guide to Mexico and Brazil. My name is Adir. I'm the head of US to Latin America in-country FBA, and my team help US-based sellers like you to expand their business into emerging markets like Mexico and Brazil. We are lucky to have with me today Akshay, who is a product leader from the global programs team, to share his expertise about the global remote fulfillment program later. So to start, today we have prepared an agenda that will cover 5 main topics. The first topic is we will talk about the opportunity size in Latin America, specifically in Mexico and Brazil. The second is the expansion process that will cover 3 main channels: in-country FBA, fulfillment by merchant, FBM, and remote fulfillment with FBA. But before we dive into the insight and the data about this, I would like to share this quote from one of our sellers that my team helped launch in 2024. The seller says, "Since we joined Amazon Mexico FBA program in 2024, we've expanded our FBA selection to 5K plus ASINs and achieved a 60% year-over-year growth in 2025. I really like this quote as it articulates feedback that is shared by multiple sellers that we helped launch throughout the years in Mexico and Brazil. So we will dive now a little bit more in the inside of the opportunity, and we will share some numbers with you. I know you all love numbers. We'll start with Mexico, which is the closest country to the United States. So Mexico represents the 3rd largest population of all Americas. 118 million expected users, e-commerce users by 2019. 72% of the Mexican population buy online in 2024. And the average spend per customer is $514. If we look at the insight at the category level, we can see some of the fastest growing categories in Mexico, starting by consumables that represent 39.1% year-over-year growth in 2025, followed by hard lines, subcategories like home entertainment and accessories that is growing at a rate of 23.9% year-over-year. Oh, sorry. Third category is the soft lines that is growing at 16% year-over-year rate. And finally, electronics at 4% year-over-year. Similar to Mexico, Brazil represents another big opportunity. It's the 2nd largest population of all Americas, and we are expecting 177 million e-commerce users by 2029. The percentage of the population buying online in 2024 raises at 69%, and the average spend per customer is $321 per customer. Some of the fastest growing categories include consumables at a very high rate of 311% year-over-year growth, followed by hard lines at 276% year-over-year growth, soft line at 370% year-over-year growth, and finally media that includes books, music, video games, and software that is growing at 203% year-over-year. Now, I know a lot of sellers, usually they have competing marketplaces worldwide to expand to. But of course, I'm here to encourage you to prioritize Mexico and Brazil. And one of the elements or the advantages that we are offering for these marketplaces is the ease of expansion. You can see that one of the major advantages of Mexico and Brazil, in addition to Canada and United States, is that we have unified accounts. You don't have to register a new account, to submit new document. Your account is already created if you have a US account, similar to Canada and Brazil. So in addition to the unified account advantage, you have translation support. You can leverage tools that are embedded in your Seller Central, like Build International Listings, that offer translation, listing creation, and translation support within the local languages. In addition to this, expanding into Mexico and Brazil in priority will make you be part of the largest and growing e-commerce landscape in Latin America. In fact, Mexico and Brazil each account for 30% of the e-commerce landscape in Latin America. And finally, there was the proximity of Mexico, of the United States. Very easy logistics makes it very easy and affordable from a logistics perspective. Now we're going to talk a little bit about the expansion process. We're going to cover the general expansion process, and this is really the same expansion process worldwide. So I'm going to go a little bit fast on this slide, starting by step number one, which is to decide what to sell. I think if you cross-check between the categories that are growing in Latin America and what you have in competitive edge in terms of products, you will determine what products to sell. And then after you determine your selection you want to launch with, you can leverage internal Amazon tools, like I said, build international listings to list your products on the destination marketplace with the destination pricing and currency and in local languages. And finally, the third step is about deciding what fulfillment channel, the package and deliver. This is the logistics. This is the most important step in the expansion process. And finally, optimizing your business and managing it for growth. I will focus a little bit on the step number three, the logistics. The logistics, as I mentioned earlier, you can choose between three fulfillment channels. The first one is in-country FBA, the second one is remote fulfillment with FBA, and the third one is fulfillment by merchant. For in-country FBA, I always call it the best-in-class program because it offered the best customer experience, the fastest delivery speeds. As you can see, there is a comparison between all fulfillment channel. In-country FBA offers the Prime badge to your offers, a speed between 0 and 2 days delivery time. Your inventory is stored in warehouse FCs in fulfillment centers, Amazon fulfillment centers in Mexico. The logistics is handled by Amazon once it's inbounded, delivery to customers, returns, and customer service. And of course, the only aspect we will talk about later is the tax implication of the in-country FBA program. Second comes the remote fulfillment with FBA. For remote fulfillment, you will be able to leverage your US sitting inventory to deliver directly to customers in Mexico and Brazil without moving a finger. Amazon will deliver directly. If you activate the remote fulfillment with FBA from your US account, which is one click, Amazon will deliver directly to customers, will handle returns and customer service. Some of the advantages, the delivery speed is 5 to 7 days in Mexico, 16 to 20 days in Brazil. There is no tax implications since your inventory is sitting in the United States. Finally, there was the fulfillment by merchant channel that offers no Prime badge. The delivery speeds varies between 7 and 14 days for Mexico, 30 to 40 days to Brazil. You have the flexibility of using your own operations and warehouses in the United States to deliver directly to your customers using your own logistics, but you will have to handle customer service and returns. After we've seen this overview of the three channels, we will dive a little bit deeper in each one of these three channels to talk about the expansion process. Each channel has different steps and implications. So for the in-country FBA expansion process, we have 4 main steps. 2 could take some time, and 2 other ones are easy to go through. The first one is the tax registry. This is the very and the most important step. You cannot launch in-country FBA in Mexico without having a local tax ID, or what we call an RFC in Spanish, RFC number. The tax ID, you can use a service provider, one of our service providers that offer tax registry services, and they will help you through the process. It takes any time between 1 month and 3 months, depends on how fast and how ready you are. After you get a tax ID, now you're allowed and you have the possibility to create a shipment in Seller Central. Now you think about the compliance, and the compliance really varies from seller to seller. It depends on your product category, the product type. Some of the products Some products have really heavy compliance associated to them. Some other products have no compliance associated to them. The best advisor for compliance purposes is going to be your logistics provider, since they are responsible from getting your products through customs. So consult with the logistics provider. They will tell you exactly the compliance required for your specific products to start the process. Once you ensure that the compliance of your products are all in place, make sure to select a broker. And a broker is a local Mexican entity that will help you get through the custom. It's your importer of record, if we can put it in other words. Once you have these 3 steps, you are ready to put together a shipment and go live on Amazon Mexico. So these are our 4, I would say, easy from my perspective, but could take some time for many sellers. Some of the benefits that this channel offers is a prime eligibility of your offers, speed of delivery, better shoppers experience, and lower logistics cost overall. Bigger shipments, scalability, lower shipping fees, more competitiveness on the marketplace, better offer featuring overall on listings ranking. Now we're going to move to the fulfillment by merchant channel and the expansion process for this particular channel. So for fulfillment by channel, I think we have 3. This is one of the easiest channels to set up, by the way. You can expand through FBM in as fast as 2 weeks. You just need to determine your logistics provider. Sometimes you might be able to use what you have already in the United States. But if your US logistics provider doesn't have the capability to deliver to Latin America, you can find a lot of logistics provider in the service provider network page on Seller Central, and it's the case, by the way, for taxes and other services. Once you decide what company to work to deliver directly to customers, of course, you have already your warehousing operations, your delivery operations that you can leverage to deliver to customers directly in Mexico and Brazil. Make sure that you are creating the right shipping templates, taking into consideration the delivery times, the fees, so you don't have surprise, to keep a healthy account with a proper valid tracking rate and proper delivery on time. And the third step, of course, when you have all this, the pricing is all set, you can go live anytime you want. Some of the benefits that the fulfillment by merchant channel offers is a lower initial investment. You are leveraging what you already have. The only new thing is the delivery times to the customers and maybe a new logistics provider with new logistics, with new shipping fees that you can cover in your overall pricing strategy. The second is you are in direct control of your shipping and logistics. This allows you also, for a lot of sellers, to collect a lot of demand signals for future investment in in-country FBA. Okay, so I talked about the 2 first channels. Now I'm going to hand it to Akshay, who's a program lead, who's going to walk you through the Global Remote Fulfillment Program. Thank you.
Thank you, Eder. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here. I'm Akshay Bharadwaj, and my team leads the product to build seller experiences for cross-border programs across Amazon. And today, I'm super excited to talk to you about Remote Fulfillment with FBA program. Firstly, if you're not already aware, I'd encourage you to go to Seller Central and quickly check if you're already enrolled into remote fulfillment. If not, I'm also going to walk you through how you can enroll into it today. Right? So the first thing I wanted to say is, if you're already a US FBA seller, remote fulfillment with FBA is a no-brainer and also the easiest way for you to quickly get demand signals for your products to figure out if they're actually selling in new countries like Mexico or Brazil without actually committing additional inventory to send directly to those countries, right? So you use your existing inventory in US itself to quickly test demand signals in additional countries before you take any other step. And enrollment is as easy as a single click within Seller Central. You just need to find the inventory page within your account in Seller Central in the US, and within a click, you will be enrolled to sell into Mexico, Canada, and Brazil, all three of them, since they are part of the North America account structure that you already have access to. Once you're enrolled, Amazon on your behalf will replicate your offers from the US into Mexico and Brazil, and also take care of translating them into Spanish and Portuguese, respectively, so that customers have a local shopping experience. Customers also pay for this inventory in their local currency. And secondly, we also automate at the time of enrollment pricing on your behalf. So that you don't have to actually figure out the price to begin with, but we adjust your prices to account for the additional fee for remote fulfillment, which I will talk about in a subsequent slide too. As soon as your products or offers are live in these two countries, customers are able to discover your products like they would any other selection, and they're able to purchase it, and it ships to them directly. And then the other thing we also do is we are always making investments to improve the supply chain, to improve speed for the customers, because that is by far a big determining factor for sellers to actually purchase something. And we're continuously making improvements and investments to improve that speed. Talking a little bit more about what is needed to actually qualify for the program. As I mentioned earlier, you do need a US FBA account, which is part of the North America Unified Account Structure. It needs to be in good standing, and also have FBA exports enabled. FBA exports, all it does is basically providing a consent from the sellers that you're willing to export your products outside of the US to additional marketplaces. Once you have that enabled, then you're eligible to enroll into remote fulfillment. And once you're enabled, all of your eligible selection is listed onto Amazon.mx, Amazon.br, and customers are able to search for your products. And Amazon Services LLC, the US Amazon company, is going to ship it directly to the customer's doorstep on your behalf. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about the fee structure, what exactly you're signing up for. Right, so I'm certain that you're already familiar with the FBA fee structure. Think of remote fulfillment as a special FBA program. So the structure of the fees is similar in remote fulfillment as well, but the fee itself is slightly higher than your domestic FBA fee to account for cross-border shipping, on your behalf to the customers in Mexico and Brazil. So the remote fulfillment fee in Mexico and Brazil for your inventory is only going to apply for products that are fulfilled through this program. So domestic fulfillment remains immune from this. And the way you can figure out as to what your fee actually is you have access to the rate cards based on weight and dimensions, like you do just for a regular FBA rate card. So you can figure out what your economics might look like as a result of that. The second thing, which I alluded to earlier, which is pricing. At the time of enrollment, we do automate pricing decisions on your behalf to make sure that the margin that you currently enjoy in the US remains similar to the margin that you get as you expand into Mexico and Brazil. All we do is adjust for the fees, US FBA fee versus the international fee, and then through that, you remain margin neutral. Of course, you always have the ability to go change the prices, run experiments with prices to figure out what converts better or less. But as a starting point, we automated so that there is lower friction for you to just get started with Mexico and Brazil. And you can always automate your pricing strategies just like you would for your regular FBA selection as well. So you can either go to your manage your inventory page, or if you're using APIs today to manage your prices, you can continue using those. And you also have the ability to go into the selling account in Mexico and Brazil. Because I remember, as a virtue of enrolling into remote fulfillment, you now have a selling account in Mexico, in Brazil. Thereby, you can go into those selling accounts to change prices there, or you can still continue to get a centralized view of all of your sales within your US Seller Central account too, right? Okay. This is a big one. As Idar was talking about, what it takes for you to become an in-country FBA seller in Mexico and Brazil. It's a worthwhile investment, but while you're waiting to get through those steps, remote fulfillment might be a great way for you to get quick demand signals, because you don't actually need a new tax ID to participate in remote fulfillment in additional countries. All you need is your US tax ID, your US FBA account, and that's it. And the reason that is the case is because Amazon, on your behalf, is fulfilling inventory directly to the customer's doorstep, right? and the customer remains the importer of record. And thereby, the customer is responsible for paying for any applicable duties or taxes upon importation into those countries, and the seller remains immune to that. Amazon remits the duties and taxes on behalf of the customer directly to the government, right? So that significantly simplifies the process for the sellers. Okay. Moving on, I wanted to reiterate a few points here that remote fulfillment with FBA is meant to be a completely hands-off-the-wheel program for the sellers. All you need to do is enroll, and listings and pricing is automated on your behalf. You don't need a tax ID either. So again, it's a great way for you to quickly get a demand signal. And as a result of the continuous investments we make in improving our supply chain, we are constantly improving the speed as well. To give you an example, in Mexico today, we are able to ship products from the US between 5 to 9 days. And in Brazil, as Ider was mentioning earlier, 16 to 20 days. But for major metro areas in Brazil now, we are able to ship products in under less than 10 days as well. So that's something to take advantage of while you wait to set up entities in those countries. And of course, at the time of enrollment, you don't need to necessarily manage your own listings or pricing as well. I spoke about pricing, but talking about listings real quick. On listings, we auto-translate the detail page in the local languages, but you always have the ability to experiment with that too and try different images that might or might not work for a particular country, depending on the sensibilities and the brand that you want to create. So you can do that on your own once you start to see some positive signals from these countries. But to begin with, at enrollment, it is fully automated for you. Okay, that's the end of my presentation. I will now hand it back to Ider to walk you through account optimization and key takeaways. Thank you.
Thank you, Akshay. Awesome. Now we have a couple more slides to go. These are really housekeeping items. The first one, I always talk about launching, and that's the initial onboarding process. But I cannot leave our sellers go without giving them the optimize your business kind of few tips there. Once your inventory is inbounded in Mexico or Brazil, or once you launched through remote fulfillment, one of the main elements that is always hindering the growth in a marketplace is these 4 main elements. Is the listing quality. Don't forget, listing quality is very, very detrimental to the ranking of your listings and the future growth of your business in any marketplace. So don't forget that A+ content, that video, that image to add it to your listings. Don't forget to drive visibility through coupons, deals, and all the promotions we have we are offering. And good thing, in Mexico and Brazil, you can run deals and coupons and all the promotions for free. There is no cost associated. The only cost is the discount you are offering to your customers. So very, very huge. And it's the same for advertising. Advertising currently in those marketplaces is really, really, really affordable. So there is a lot of growth opportunities. The third element is about restocking and grow your catalog. Restocking is to maintain very healthy inventory levels. I've seen a lot of sellers, they launch, they inbound a big shipment, and they start really picking up or building their brand, and then they go out of stock. They don't restock in 2-3 months. Guess what? The ranking will go. Now we're gonna restart from scratch. So maintaining inventory, healthy inventory levels is very, very important. And finally, you keep an account healthy. Especially if you are in the FBM channel, that's very, very sensitive to the account health scores that we have, and sometimes you don't want to lose your business growth or your account in general to not so good tracking rate on the marketplace or even order defect rate. With that, I will summarize and talk about our key takeaways. So Mexico and Brazil aren't just the new stores. They are extensions of your current success on Amazon.com, and that should be accelerated by the fact that you have unified accounts. You have one merchant ID across the Americas. We have 3 fulfillment options, and you can grow at your own pace. In-country FBA, North American remote fulfillment, and FBA fulfillment by merchant. And finally, you can streamline your expansion, and we are providing step-by-step processes through our trusted services. So with that, I want to thank everyone for coming today.